Tonight, before you close your eyes, before the noise of the world fades into silence, I want to share something with you. 7 truths. 7 lessons about life that most people learn too late. And if you truly listen, not just with your ears, but with your heart, something inside you will shift. Stay with me until the end, because the final lessons might completely change the way you see your life. Most people don't realize the quiet pressure they feel every day doesn't actually come from life itself. It comes from trying to live up to the expectations of others. From the moment we're young, we're subtly taught that approval equals safety. Good grades earn praise. The right career earns respect. The acceptable choices keep everyone comfortable. Slowly, without even noticing, many people begin shaping their lives around what will make others nod in approval, rather than what truly makes their soul come alive. And before they know it, they wake up years later feeling strangely disconnected from their own life. The schedule may look perfect. The achievements may look impressive. But deep inside, something feels missing. That emptiness is not failure. It's your inner voice reminding you that you were never meant to live someone else's version of success. Approval can feel like oxygen when you're chasing it. You adjust your personality in different rooms, soften your opinions to avoid discomfort, and sometimes silence the dreams that feel too different from what people expect of you. It happens quietly. A dream gets postponed because it seems risky. A passion gets hidden because it seems impractical. A bold idea gets buried because it might invite judgment. Over time, the gap between who you truly are and who you present to the world begins to widen. And that gap is exhausting. Living for approval means constantly performing, constantly adjusting, constantly measuring your worth through the reactions of others. But the truth is, no matter how much approval you gather, it will never feel like enough if it costs you your authenticity. There comes a moment in life, sometimes during a late night of reflection, sometimes after a disappointment, sometimes after achieving something new, thought would finally make you feel complete. When a powerful realization arrives, you start to understand that approval is not the same as fulfillment. People may applaud you, but they cannot live your life for you. They may admire your decisions, but they cannot carry the weight of your regrets if those decisions were never truly yours. That realization can feel uncomfortable at first because it forces you to confront something deeper, the possibility that the life you've been carefully constructing may not actually reflect the person you truly are. But that discomfort is not a threat. It's the beginning of awakening. Choosing to step away from the need for approval doesn't mean becoming rebellious or disrespectful toward others. It means something far more powerful. It means taking responsibility for your own path. It means understanding that while guidance from others can be valuable, the final authority over your life must belong to you. When you begin making decisions based on your values, your curiosity, and your purpose, something shifts inside you. Your energy becomes clearer. Your confidence becomes quieter but stronger. You stop wasting energy trying to impress people who were never meant to understand your journey in the first place. And in that space, creativity, courage, and authenticity begin to grow. The interesting thing about living authentically is that it often feels frightening at first. When you stop chasing approval, you also stop relying on it as a safety net. There will be moments when people question your choices. Some may not understand why you changed direction. Others may project their own fears onto your decisions. But here's what many people eventually discover. The people who truly care about you will respect your courage, even if they don't fully understand your path. And the people who disappear because you stopped performing for them were never truly supporting your growth in the first place. Authenticity acts like a filter. It removes relationships built on expectation and strengthens those built on respect. Over time, something remarkable begins to happen when you stop living for approval. Your sense of identity becomes stronger because it is no longer dependent on shifting opinions. Your decisions feel lighter because they come from clarity rather than pressure. And perhaps most importantly, you begin to experience a deeper form of peace. The kind that comes from knowing that the life you are building truly belongs to you. It may not look exactly like what others imagined. It may not follow the most predictable path, but it will feel real. It will feel meaningful. And that authenticity will give you a strength that approval never could. The moment you stop asking the world for permission to be yourself is the moment your real life finally begins. Because fulfillment doesn't come from being accepted by everyone. It comes from having the courage to fully accept you truly are. Us fear has an interesting way of showing up right when something important is about to happen in your life. It doesn't arrive politely or quietly. It appears as doubt in your mind, tension in your chest, and a voice that begins to question whether you're truly capable of taking the next step. For many people, that feeling becomes a signal to stop. They interpret fear as danger, as a warning that they're not ready or that they should turn back to the familiar. But the truth is far more powerful than that. Fear is not always an enemy standing in your way. Often, it is simply a sign that you are standing at the edge of growth, at the boundary between who you are now and who you are capable of becoming. Think about the moments in life that truly shape you. The first time you speak up for yourself when staying silent would have been easier. The first time you pursue a dream that others call unrealistic. The first time you step into a room where you feel completely out of place but know you belong there. Every one of those moments carries fear with it. Your mind begins to imagine all the ways things could go wrong. It creates stories about rejection, failure, embarrassment, and uncertainty. And those stories can feel incredibly convincing. But what your mind rarely tells you is that the same moment also carries possibility. The possibility of discovering strength you didn't know you had, of unlocking opportunities you never imagined, and of stepping into a life that is far bigger than the one built inside your comfort zone. Fear often disguises itself as logic. It tells you that waiting a little longer is safer. It suggests gathering more information, gaining more experience, or finding the perfect time before making a move. And while preparation can be valuable, fear has a clever way of stretching that preparation into endless delay. Months turn into years, and the dream that once felt alive slowly fades into something that only exists in quiet moments of reflection. Many people look back on their lives and realize that the greatest opportunities they missed were not lost because they lacked talent or ability. They were lost because fear convinced them not to try. That is the quiet tragedy of fear when it goes unchallenged. What many courageous people eventually discover is that fear never completely disappears. Even the most confident leaders, artists, and innovators still feel it. The difference is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. They understand something powerful. Fear does not always signal danger. Sometimes it signals importance. If a step feels intimidating, it may simply mean that the outcome matters deeply to you. It may mean that the decision carries the power to reshape your future. When viewed from that perspective, fear transforms from an obstacle into a compass. Instead of pushing you away from your dreams, it begins pointing directly toward them. Walking through fear does not require reckless bravery. It requires small acts of courage, repeated consistently over time. It begins with a single decision: applying for the opportunity you're unsure you'll get, sharing the idea you're afraid people might judge, taking the first step toward a dream that feels bigger than your current circumstances. Each time you act despite fear, something shifts inside you. The voice of doubt becomes a little quieter, and the voice of confidence becomes a little stronger. Gradually, you begin to realize that fear loses its power the moment you stop obeying it. What once seemed impossible begins to feel achievable simply because you prove to yourself that fear cannot control your choices. Over time, this relationship with fear changes the way you experience life. Instead of avoiding situations that challenge you, you begin to recognize them as opportunities for expansion. You understand that the moments that scare you the most are often the same moments that have the potential to transform you the most. Every step beyond fear stretches your abilities, deepens your resilience, and reveals parts of your character that would have remained hidden if you had chosen safety over growth. Fear no longer becomes a wall blocking your path. It becomes a doorway leading toward the version of yourself that has been waiting patiently for you to arrive. As fear is not the signal to turn back. It is the quiet invitation to step forward, because the life you truly want almost always begins on the other side of the things that scare you the most. Most people underestimate the quiet influence their environment has over their lives. They believe their success or struggles come purely from personal willpower, discipline, or luck. But if you observe closely, you'll begin to notice something deeper. The people around you, the conversations you hear every day, the attitudes you absorb, and the energy present in your surroundings slowly begin shaping the way you think. Human beings are naturally adaptive. Without realizing it, we start mirroring the beliefs and behaviors of the environments we spend the most time in. If the atmosphere around you constantly speaks of limitation, doubt, and negativity, those ideas begin planting seeds in your mind. Over time, they grow into silent assumptions about what you believe is possible for your own life. Think about how easily moods spread in a room. When you enter a space filled with enthusiasm, creativity, and ambition, something inside you becomes energized. Your mind starts exploring ideas, your confidence rises, and suddenly possibilities feel closer than they did before. But the opposite is also true. When you spend long periods surrounded by constant complaining, pessimism, or criticism, that energy slowly drains your motivation. Even if you begin with strong intentions, repeated exposure to discouraging voices can gradually weaken your belief in your own potential. The environment doesn't always force change instantly. Instead, it works quietly, shaping your thoughts little by little until the mindset around you becomes the mindset within you. This is why the people you keep close to you matter more than most realize. The conversations you allow into your life become the background music of your thoughts. If your circle constantly discusses problems without seeking solutions, you may begin seeing obstacles everywhere. But if the people around you challenge themselves, pursue meaningful goals, and encourage growth, you start adopting that perspective as well. They don't just influence your decisions, they influence how you interpret the world.